Hello, my name's Kris Baker. I'm the Assistant Principal at Frankston Special Developmental School. That's it's a government school for kids with moderate to profound intellectual disability. I've been asked by Monash University to have a chat with you, those of you studying teaching, about the benefits of doing some of your placement at a special school. So today I'll talk about what a special school is, how you qualify for a special school, and what we teach in special schools, and what an enormous benefit how it will shape your careers professionally. Okay, so in Victoria there are over 80 special schools. They're quite varied. There are schools for kids with mild intellectual disability, there's schools for kids with moderate to profound intellectual disability, as well as autism-specific schools, schools for hearing impaired, hospital schools, and schools for kids with physical disabilities. Every child with a disability in any government school is funded under the programs for students with a disability. So once kids start attending school, we then apply for a level of funding. That funding, for example, all of our kids are on this program at Frankston Special Developmental School. And with that funding, it allows us to manage our workforce plan so that we can hire people like OTs and speechies and physios, really important to our kids' development. So why would your placement at a special school be such an asset to your training? Well, kids with special needs aren't confined to special schools. They're across all schools. You will find them. They're completely all through our system. In any one class, you might have 3 different disabilities, and all of them with quite varied needs. And there are systems and supports to manage, to help work with these kids, but your knowledge is primary to their development. It allows you then to be able to differentiate with those kids in your classroom. And it also, most importantly, I guess at this stage in your careers, it can open up employment opportunities. It absolutely can give you an edge if you've got knowledge around working with kids with disabilities. So what do we teach in special schools? Well, we teach what is taught in any government school across Victoria. We teach the Victorian curriculum. We are required to report on achievement standards in specific subject areas as per any mainstream child. We're teaching all relevant curriculum areas from English, Maths, Arts, PE and so on. I'm not sure in your studies if you're up to looking at the curriculum a bit more closely, but you would probably be aware that the curriculum starts at foundation if you're in a mainstream school and goes through to level 10. There is a working towards foundation curriculum which is made up of 4 levels, level A, B, C and D. And a lot of our kids in special schools are working from that curriculum. Priority learning areas at our school are the development of communication. So we're looking at what functional communication looks like for each of our students. And a lot of our kids are non-verbal, so we're teaching kids functional ways to communicate their needs. But behaviours, there's a lot of work in special schools around school-wide positive behaviour support. So that's a way of it's a framework of teaching behaviour, and it's teaching expected behaviours. We work with occupational therapists and speech therapists within our school, and also physios to work with kids and their physical needs. We're always thinking about moving kids towards as much independence as they possibly can have. We're also working with kids on the development of social competencies. So our kids, it doesn't perhaps come as innately to our kids as it might to others. So we're teaching important skills like turn taking, not melting down when you don't get your turn, lining up and transitioning from classroom to classroom, sitting with others while I'm having lunch, play skills, where we explicitly teach all of this stuff. And then we're also working with kids from a sensory perspective. A lot of our kids have sensory needs, and it's really important that these needs are addressed in order to set them up for success in their learning. And that might be just having a child, giving a kid a fiddle toy so that they can fiddle with the toy while they're listening to the teacher, or maybe giving that child a break so that they can go out and jump on a trampoline or run around the oval. again, so that it will just settle them down ready for more learning. Okay, so I guess the most important thing is, what will you learn if you come and do placement at a special school? Well, you are going to learn the tools of the trade, and these tools are not confined to just specifically to special schools. These are techniques and systems that you can use across any of your teaching practice. So these are universally recognised and evidence-based practices that we use at special schools. So as I said, they're not confined to kids with special needs working at a below mainstream level. You're also going to be able to dig into the curriculum and the Victorian curriculum and work with that, the working towards foundation curriculum. Be really mindful too, the A to D working towards foundation. There are many kids that are going to come to your school, if you end up working in mainstream schools at prep, that aren't at that foundation level. So it's going to be such a skill to take with you, even if you do decide to pursue a career in a mainstream school. Just having knowledge around what A to D looks like, what the content looks like. And you'll see now a few examples of some of the visuals that are quite common across special schools. They're things like daily schedules, PEX cards, picture exchange communication system. You even might get a chance to work with kids with augmentative alternative communication systems. So that's their own handheld devices that they use to communicate with. And you'll also be able to work with teachers and learn a little bit more about the school-wide positive behaviour support. If you go onto the DEEP website, there's a lot of information about that now. It's such a highly effective way of working with kids and their behaviours. You'll also, whilst you're there, ask about ABLES. That's the abilities-based learning and education support. That's the assessment tool for kids working towards foundation, and that's how the tool that we use to work to assess our kids. I guess something you need to ask yourself is why this could be such an asset to the training that you're going through at the moment. Ask yourself how equipped you are to work with kids with special needs, how much you know about kids with special needs, how much you're learning about in your university course. And then ask yourself how confident you would be to work with kids if they were in your classroom and had additional needs. Because if you don't know how to do it and you're in front of that class, then who's going to do it? It is up to you at the end of the day. It's up to all of us as the teachers. A useful benefit to doing some placement at a special school is that it can potentially open up some employment opportunities for you, in that you can then sign up. And I've done it for quite a few teachers, fourth year teachers that have come through in particular, and they've got a little bit more time in their uni schedule, and they've signed up with our casual teaching relief agency, and they've got employment through us as education support staff. So that's essentially teacher aid. So they've come back to the school. Again, it's a hand in glove thing, in that they're learning even more but being paid for being there. And we love having fourth year or third year teaching students as ES staff, because they bring such a wealth of knowledge to the job. You can also potentially look at holiday programs, working with kids with special needs. There's a lot more employment opportunities that have opened up through the NDIS at the moment, and that would just be a matter of tapping into some of the organisations that cater for kids with disabilities.